What do you have to say, Iris?
No, I didn't tell him to come. He just showed up on his own.
Uh-huh. And he just happened to know where you were. Iris is standing next to me. Bar counter. What's the note say? I guess I can't figure that out. Alright. What's up, Ota? I never thought I'd run into you here.
I was nihiling with Tessa earlier.
I knew it was you.
She said she was going to Marble, so... I got here just before you did. Look, I was really worried about her. She was about to be charged with a serious crime.
No, she wasn't. We were just trying to figure out what happened. It's called an investigation, dumbass. Where's Mama?
Oh, she left a little while ago. She said something about going to help an acquaintance. She told me to watch the place until she got back.
How well do you know Mama?
Not at all. It's my first time here.
She's very lax with her business. I wasn't particularly surprised. Mama's always depended on the kindness of strangers ever since she opened Marble. Isn't your phone... Oh, you do have a new phone. Looks like he's bothered by something. Okay.
No, this is my new one. You're thinking of the one I dropped in that puddle.
What was that thing about?
This actually works out nicely. I want to ask you something, Ota. It's about a Nile message you sent Iris. You said you wouldn't tell anyone about that thing. That you'd stay quiet no matter what. What were you talking about?
Well,
You should know by now it's not a smart idea to lie to me, buddy.
I'll tell her about the two-witter thing. I swear I'll do it.
Geez, fine. Just don't tell anyone else, okay? But before I tell you, who's that?
She's right here. Wouldn't she know? Wouldn't she have been able to hear us? But wait, hold on. Who's... who?
What?
At the door. Someone's standing outside.
Oh, for the love of God. They took out Iba. Fuck. Wait, we're still at Marble? When I woke up, I was lying on the sofa.
Where am I?
My head was killing me and my memory was foggy. I felt sudden pain in my neck. I shot up, rubbing my neck. When I looked over the counter, I saw a monster staring back at me. That's rude. It took me a few seconds before I realized it was just Mama.
It looks like you're awake now.
As Mama spoke to me, it all came rushing back. I remembered everything. Fucking jackass. What's up? Where's Ota?
Ota? The boy I asked to watch the bar?
Yeah, that one.
I'd say he's too old to be called a boy, but yeah.
He was already gone when I came back. All I saw was you getting your beauty sleep on the floor.
Damn it, Ota. What are you thinking?
You don't think you're gonna get charged for, attacking a police officer?
It appears that he took off with Iris.
What were you doing during all this?
My power was shut down due to the stun gun. I have rebooted in safe mode and am now operational.
What time? Well, no, I know what time it is, but Date doesn't know what time it is.
It'll be 3 o'clock soon. In the morning, of course.
Okay, and why didn't you wake me up? I mean, you probably tried.
I tried. You wouldn't budge.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I thought you were passed out drunk, so I left you like that.
But I didn't have a glass in front of me, right?
So you weren't drunk?
No, I was knocked out by an idiot.
Didn't have a single drop.
Although I guess if I got knocked out by the idiot, I am the bigger idiot.
Ha ha, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
Oh, I thought you were drinking straight out of the bottle. Just like the old days.
Oh,
Date, the boss is calling.
Oh, how am I gonna report this one?
Date, listen. Stay calm, but this is an emergency.
what happened to Mizuki?
Just now, the killer... Well, just watch the video. I sent the address to Iba.
What?
Iris! No, that's...
The criminal is streaming this live.
Iba, the source.
Identified. The Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse, Koto District.
Okiura?
Date, focus. We need to get to the site, now.
I know Oda has nothing to do with this. Well, he has a little bit to do with it. Because he knocked me out.
What's our ETA?
Our destination is far from here. 20 minutes at the fastest.
Please, please let me make it in time.
Okay.
That sick bastard!
Oh god, it's the panda! There's no way I'm making it.
Tessa! Hold on! I'll save you!
Ota!
Okay, so he didn't have anything to do with it.
Stay away from Tessa! Ah!
Are you the dumbest son of a bitch alive? Brave, but stupid. I kept my foot to the gas the whole time. I could feel the sweat on my palms. The engine raised a high-pitched scream, but I could barely hear it. My heartbeat was pounding out in my ears, shaking me to the core. How much time had passed? The feeling of time itself had disappeared. Eventually, the car reached a long bridge. Shortly after, the image changed. Was I able?
No, it can't be. No. Stop!
No, no, no. Fuck! God.
Ota.
Jesus.
There you are. Finally. I was looking all over for you. It's rare to see you down like this.
Could I have saved them? Was what I did in the Somnium the cause? Probably.
But it's understandable. You blame yourself for this, don't you? Beating yourself up about taking Iris to Marble. And about letting Ota get the upper hand on you. Am I right? Shall I tell you what Investigation HQ thinks?
Yeah, sure.
Ota Matsushita is a criminal stalker who committed murder-suicide.
He didn't deserve that.
Ota had a selfish love for Iris. He was under the delusion that Iris loved him too. But Iris refused Ota. So Ota decided that he and Iris should be together in the afterlife, killed her, then killed himself.
The live stream should show otherwise. But then people could think it was staged.
That's ridiculous. Ota would never kill Iris. And how do you explain the other two murders? Iris's left eye was hollowed out.
But Ota's wasn't.
Just like Renju and Shoko. Those three murders were definitely executed by the same person. The new Cyclops killer. There's no way that's Ota. Too many pieces don't fit. Too many contradictions, like killing Iris.
Such as?
Well, at this point, it's kind of obvious to know. The new Cyclops killer is going after me by going after the people that are close to Date. Ota had no incentive to kill Renju.
Maybe he was thinking like this. The reason Iris and I can't be together is because her agency prohibits it. Making the president, Renju, the ultimate bad guy in his mind.
Mizuki is Ota's close friend. Do you really think Ota would kill his friend's father?
He didn't have an incentive to kill Shoko. He didn't even know who Shoko was.
Shoko was married to Renju. maybe he was trying to get at Renju by killing her.
That's a stretch. They've been divorced for years. Ota knows all about it. He wouldn't use Shoko to get to Renju.
And he was acting like that in the video.
Stay away from Tessa!
Ota showed himself on the stream. If he was gonna kill Iris and then himself, why would he do that? The only reason you would show yourself like that is to prove that you weren't the culprit.
And that's why people think he is, because it's too convenient.
Ota and the polar bear on the screen at the same time would prove that they're not the same person.
But they were never on the screen at the same time.
That behavior would be totally unnecessary if he was gonna commit suicide anyway.
Well, maybe he wasn't planning on dying at first. After he killed Iris, he realized that he couldn't live with himself.
So he lies down on the workbench and turns on the ice cutting machine himself? I don't buy it.
And what about the polar bear costume, which is still very strange?
The culprit was wearing a polar bear costume, probably to hide their identity. But if murder-suicide was the plan, the costume served no purpose.
There is one other key to show that it wasn't him. He couldn't pull down the lever as easily as me, or as Date and the polar bear. We could push it down just fine. Ota had trouble with it.
There are some additional discrepancies. I analyzed the investigation report. Judging by his wound, Ota was stabbed in the side by a kitchen knife or something similar.
Are you sure?
I am.
I told the boss what Iba found.
Oh, I know that.
Well?
Ota could have stabbed himself.
If you were... Listen, ma'am, I know you are a police boss, but why on God's green earth would you stab yourself if you were planning on cutting yourself up with an ice machine anyway? That just causes a lot of additional pain. Unless you're thinking that Iris stabbed him to defend herself.
Maybe he thought it would be a fatal wound, but when it didn't work, he went for the ice cutting machine.
Then, shouldn't we have recovered the kitchen knife from the scene?
Maybe he threw it in the ocean.
Were there any traces of blood?
Boss, come on. Ota goes out to the water, stabs himself in the gut, throws the knife over the side, then walks back to the warehouse?
Well, I wasn't being serious. I didn't think Ota was the culprit from the beginning.
I'm glad you don't.
I was just playing devil's advocate for HQ.
Really?
Yes, really.
Thank God you're not an idiot. I've said that a lot this episode, I'm sorry.
Anyway, Ota didn't kill anyone, and he didn't kill himself. Here's what I think happened.
Stay away from Tessa!
Ota knew Iris was kidnapped, so he rushed onto the scene. That's when he saw the culprit wearing the polar bear costume. He tried to fight him off, but ended up being stabbed in the side. He was weakened and losing blood at the culprit's mercy. The culprit forced him into the costume, then under the ice cutting machine. And then...
Then, who is the culprit?
I wish I knew.
We're up to 4 victims. But Ota was a special circumstance. He wasn't specifically targeted by the culprit.
Ota was the wrench in his plans.
Right. And he was the only one to not have his eye pulled out.
So let's focus on the 3 other victims. Shoko, Renju, and Iris. What connects these 3?
What connects these 3 is Detective Kaname Date.
Connections.
If you find a connection between the victims, you find a connection to the culprit. That's the theory of investigation, right?
You think the new Cyclops killer is related to them somehow?
Maybe, maybe not. But it's a good starting point.
Let's see, Iris's mother, Hitomi. Oh god, Hitomi.
Hitomi and Renju are definitely linked.
Hitomi doesn't know yet, does she?
They were high school classmates. And she did say that she met Shoko twice. But I can't imagine she would kill Iris in such a gruesome way. No matter what the circumstances were, it seems impossible to me.
Oh, I was looking for... I was trying to type out killers. Never mind. MoMA?
Renju and Shoko were connected to the Kumakuras. But there's no connection to Iris.
So Sejima is also unconnected. Oh god, they're pointing it towards Mizuki again.
Mizuki has the strongest connections with all three victims. Shoko and Renju were her parents, and she was close friends with Iris.
But she couldn't wear that polar bear costume.
She was good friends with Ota too. But that's why I could never believe Mizuki would kill all four of them. Thinking of her as a suspect is ridiculous.
Oda's mother, Mayumi.
Mayumi had motive for killing Iris and Renju. Mayumi hated Iris, and she didn't think well of Lemnis Gate either. And since Renju is the president... Anyway, the weak point is Renju's ex-wife, Shoko. I can't imagine why Mayumi would kill her. And above all else, she would never harm her only son, let alone kill him.
Could it be her husband, who we've never seen?
Renju, Shoko, and So. There is a connection between Renju and Shoko through the Kumakuras. But again, I can't see any clear link to Iris.
And we finally hit on the nail. It's me.
I know Renju and Shoko, and I'm connected to Iris. But I have an alibi. Aside from Shoko, there's no way I could have killed any of them. No, now that I think about it, Shoko too. I don't remember killing her. My memories from 6 years ago are missing, but I still have my memory of recent events. And if I start doubting myself now...
Date, I can say without a doubt that there is zero possibility you are the new Cyclops killer. I have been working with you for years. I know better than anyone that you are innocent.
Thank you, Aiba.
I thought it over, boss. Of the people I know, I can't peg any of them as the murderer.
And no leads to pursue?
No.
Then there's only one thing you can do. Continue your investigation.
Yep.
Do whatever it takes to get the culprit.
You got it, boss.
To get justice for the victims.
You're right. Got it, boss.
Well, first things first. Let's check it out. Let's see what's what. I stepped into the cold storage warehouse. The air conditioning wasn't running, but it was still cold. The temperature hadn't raised much at all. The cold air sunk into my skin, but the center of my body was burning hot. Hey there. Any clues?
No, nothing so far.
What about anything else? The inspector is doing his duties as usual. Okay.
A video camera and laptop. This is what the criminal used to stream. All of these items have been bought from pawn shops and thrift stores. It would be difficult to determine a suspect from them.
Okay, so we can't use that. What about Bloodstain B? Is this Oda's blood? So this must have been from the kitchen knife. And this is obviously from ice cutting machine. Iris and Ota were sliced in two by this ice cutting machine. Iris and Ota.
Iris's estimated time of death and cause of death have been confirmed. The video was not a recording. It was a live stream, filmed in real time.
Which means Iris's time of death is 3:20 a.m.
This forklift is old. It does not appear to be functional. It has not been moved in some time.
Okay. Forklift. Don't say anything special about it.
I have logged into the Wi-Fi in this warehouse.
Okay.
Okiura Fishery Co., Ltd. is listed as the owner.
Okiura.
However, I found the password written directly on the router. Anyone who saw it could have used it.
Great.
I have done some research.
What have you done?
As the name suggests, the company is owned by the Okiuras, the same Okiuras we know. Renju's father created the company.
Another connection to Renju.
No, actually.
Really?
Currently, Okiura Fishery has nothing to do with Renju. The company has been managed by office representatives for the past 17 years after Renju's father died. Renju holds no shares and is not involved in the management. In short, Renju did not inherit the company from his father, and it was instead given to other persons.
Okay.
But it can't be a coincidence.
It certainly is suspicious.
On someone with a vendetta against me and an oil drum. Unlikely to be a clue. Okay, well, I thought I was clever. There's a box. Nothing in it. Well, this box is empty.
There are only a few items on the shelf.
Is this warehouse not in use?
Why wouldn't it be in use? Nothing particularly suspicious. Okay. Well, let's keep checking out the equipment. It's all we have.
Right here. Iris and Ota were.
I am sure you are already aware of Ota's time of death.
Just a few minutes after Iris's.
Just before I arrived. About 3:30 in the morning.
And the cause of death.
Right, about that. Ota had a stab wound from a kitchen knife in his side.
Correct.
What was the exact cause of death? Was it the knife wound, or...?
I cannot determine that. I can conclude that the knife wound was at least close to being fatal. Even if Ota was still alive on the workbench, he was certainly on the verge of death. If he weren't already extremely weak, we would expect to see more signs of struggle.
Damn it, Ota. Maybe Ota was trying to help Iris jumping at the criminal. That led to a scuffle and Ota ended up with a knife wound in his side. He lost all his power to fight back. He was forcibly put inside the costume and then finally cut open by the ice cutting machine.
But why? Why did the culprit put the costume on Ota?
Unknown.
Iris and Ota's bodies are under autopsy. Their bodies aren't here anymore.
Iris also had her left eye removed.
Yeah.
And like Renju and Shoko, Iris's left eyeball has not been recovered. Date, we should get moving. Officers from the local jurisdiction are checking the warehouse thoroughly. We will not find anything of importance here.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
You can ask CSI to inform you if they find anything.
Alright.
I'm heading out. Let me know if you find anything. I'll let them know that then left the warehouse. I guess the next course of action is to find somewhere to go. Oh? When I left the warehouse, I saw Pewter. What's he doing here? He walked up to me while I was trying to work it out.
Date, I have to talk to you about something.
Huh?
About the original Cyclops serial killings.
Oh, someone's gonna tell me?
Why this all of a sudden?
Because I want you to solve this case, Mr. Date. I want you to find who did this and bring them to justice. So, if I can help you, even a little.
Why didn't you say anything at Abyss?
The boss was there. I couldn't speak openly in front of her. So, I decided to meet you here.
All right. Let's hear it.
Earlier, I told you that I was completely certain the original Cyclops killer couldn't have committed these crimes.
Uh-huh. And why is that?
I am absolutely certain the original Cyclops killer could not have committed these crimes. Let me explain why. I'll start by telling you the identity of the Cyclops killer. Although, it's more accurate to say, killers.
More than one?
In the first series of killings, the culprit had an accomplice. One of them was born a murderous psychopath. The other is Rohan Kumakura, the previous chairman of the Kumakuras.
Really?
They each had a role to play. The murderer committed the homicide, and Rohan removed the eyeball.
That's some weird stuff to be taken in right now. Who's the murderous psychopath?
He was born with a brain dysfunction. Due to damage to the posterior pituitary gland, he was unable to properly secrete oxytocin.
Oxytocin is a peptide hormone linked to feelings of love, affection, and trust. It is colloquially referred to as the love hormone. It causes a tranquilizing effect which improves mood and relieves stress.
Okay.
It is normally secreted when the body makes contact with an object of affection, such as an embrace or caress.
I'm sure you know what this implies, but he was unable to feel love in the way that we do. However, he was able to experience a substitute. His brain was wired in such a way that allowed him to feel satisfaction through other means. Due to the unique idiosyncrasies of his brain, he was able to release large amounts of dopamine and endorphins by performing a certain action.
Murder.
What was it?
Murder.
Dopamine is a hormone linked to the reward system of the brain.
The more you do it, the more you want it.
The pleasant feeling attained through accomplishment is dopamine. Endorphins are a kind of brain narcotic. They dull pain and create a feeling of happiness.
He got pleasure from killing people?
It's slightly more complicated than that. Killing people was the only way he could get pleasure. He was 12 when he took his first life.
Seriously.
That enlightened him to the pleasure of murder, which he would do again and again.
Okay. And why did the Cyclops case get classified?
That, I don't know.
The details of the original Cyclops serial killings case have become nebulous over time. Even the official investigation material contains nothing of value. I am unable to draw any conclusions from them.
Nice.
You really have no idea?
If I did, I would tell you.
I know you would. And about Rohan, he jumped off a building.
18 years ago, Rohan took a woman's eye. She was already dead. he put his finger into her eye socket and gouged it out.
Ah.
The reason why was simple. He was fascinated by women's eyes. Their beauty stimulated his greed and his desire to possess them. He needed to have them, to make them his own. Driven by this instinctive impulse, he took the woman's eye. From then on, he acquired a grotesque obsession with the eyes of dead women. He was very particular about his need that the eye belonged to a deceased woman. But even being the head of a Yakuza gang, there weren't too many opportunities for him to indulge. His deepest, darkest desire went unfulfilled for years.
Until he met the Cyclops killer.
However, he soon met his ideal partner, the aforementioned psychopath. The Cyclops killer would commit the murder, and Rohan would take the eye. Thus, a mutually beneficial relationship was established. This was the origin of the Cyclops serial killings. At about the same time, you were assigned to Abyss.
Alright, summarize it for me.
The original Cyclops killer had an accomplice,
There were 2 Cyclops killers.
and one of them was the former chairman of the Kumakuras, Rohan Kumakura.
Rohan committed suicide by jumping to his death 1 year ago.
That means... Pewter, tell me this. One of the original killers is dead, I know that. But that means one remains.
So who is he? Or who are they?
Who is he?
After his 4th murder, he was arrested by the police.
Good.
They actually picked him up on other charges. But, in any case, he is currently serving a life sentence in Fuchu prison.
Hold on, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that the same prison that I got a call from?
Fuchu prison?
Yes.
What's his name?
In prison, he doesn't have a name. He is simply called Number 89.
Number 89.
Yep.
I know who killed Shogun Adami.
So, now you know why I said that.
Yes.
That the original Cyclops killer couldn't have committed these crimes. Because one is dead, and the other is behind bars. Neither of them had the opportunity.
Alright. Peter looks grimly serious. In his still ridiculous outfit, but honestly, I appreciate seeing something wacky after all that we've seen in the last 40 minutes. Well, the Date residence. Weird. God, I need to tell her. When I visited the Sagan household, I found Hitomi with a hollow look in her eyes. She let me in and asked me to sit on the sofa. I agreed and sat down. But after that, I couldn't say a single word. The heavy silence weighed on both of us.
In the language of flowers, the iris means good news and hope. When I saw the flowers this morning, I just knew something good would happen.
Iris.
The winter iris is blooming. There's drawing on the wall. About Iris.
Iris was my everything. We always went everywhere together. Whether it was buying clothes, or going to the movies, or taking a walk, or going shopping at the supermarket. When she was young, she would just hold one of my fingers. Her hand was too small to hold mine. Then it was 2, then 3, and finally she could hold my hand. But eventually, she left my hands altogether. She started crossing her arms, being independent. Even though she needed constant attention growing up. Her memories are a part of this room. And always will be. When she was a baby, she fell off that sofa and cried and cried. One day, she tore up her picture book all over the floor here. Another time, she drew with crayons all over the window. She painted my portrait on Mother's Day. Scratches on the floor, chipped plates, burn marks on the table, stains on the cushions. Everything you see. It all holds a memory of her. But why?
About Ota. Do you have anything?
Oda was one of my students. I taught him in elementary school. I heard it from the police. Oda tried to help Iris and ended up... I don't know what to say. I have no words.
So that explains why he was able to have such a close relationship with her. Can you think of any information?
Hitomi, my entire focus is on this case. Is there anything at all you can tell me?
I don't know if this is important, but...
No, please, tell me.
I may have told you this already. I met Renju's wife Shoko twice before. The first time at the wedding. The second time a month ago. That second time was in the waiting room of the prison.
Prison?
There's an acquaintance of mine from when we were younger. I visit them a few times a year. And by coincidence, I saw Shoko. I don't think she noticed me, but I recognized her as Renju's wife right away. She was there for the same reason I was, to visit one of the inmates.
Do you know who?
No, I don't.
Probably number 89.
We didn't talk.
Which prison?
Fuchu Prison, in Tokyo.
Fuchu.
Prison?
I'm sorry to have bothered you. I'll be going now.
I don't know what to do. thinking about her. Dante, please, you have to catch them. Please. Please.
I will. Trust me.